Hello friends, welcome to Extra Learning. Today we will be doing Class 6 History Chapter number 7, New Questions and Ideas. So let's get started. So first we will study the story of Buddha or Siddhartha Gautama. So Siddhartha, who was also known as Gautam, the founder of Buddhism, was born about 25,000 years ago. This was a time of rapid change in the lives of people. The Buddha belonged to a small Gana known as the Sakya Gana and was a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means he was the son of a king. Now, when he was a young man, he left the comforts of his home and searched for knowledge or alignment. He finally decided to find his own path to realization and meditated for days and end under a peepal tree at Bodh Gaya in Bihar, where he attained alignment. So after that he was known as Buddha or the Wise One. Now he then went to Sarnath near Varanasi, where he taught for the first time. He spent the rest of his life traveling on foot, going from place to place, teaching people till he passed away at Kusinara. So we have to underline the main points or highlight the main points which are very important. So let's underline it also. Bodh Gaya is in Bihar and Kusinara is the place where he died. So I will just highlight it. So the Buddha taught that life is full of sufferings and unhappiness. This is caused because we are cravings and desires which often cannot be fulfilled. Buddha, the Siddhartha Gautama, taught people that we are always suffering and unhappiness because we have cravings and desires which cannot be fulfilled often. So the Buddha described that as thirst or tanha. He taught that his constant craving could be removed by following moderation in everything. He also taught people to be kind and to respect the lives of others, including animals also. He believed that the results of our actions, called karma, whether good or bad, affect us both in this life and next. And next means next janam. The Buddha taught in the language of the ordinary people, that is Prakrit. Prakrit is a language that was used about 25,000 years ago, so that everybody could understand his message. Now Upanishads. Now thinkers felt that there was something permanent in the universe that would last even after death. They described this as the Atman, or the individual soul of the Brahman, or the universal soul. Soul is Atman or Atma. Now, they believed that ultimately both the Atman and the Brahman were one. Many of their ideas were recorded in the Upanishads. Upanishad literally means approaching and sitting near, and the text contained conversations between teachers and students. Often ideas were presented through simple dialogues. Occasionally there is mention of women thinkers such as Gargi, who was famous for her learning, participated in debates held in royal courts. Poor people rarely took part in these discussions. One famous exception of Satyakama Jawala, who was named after his mother, the slave woman Jabali. Many of the ideas of Upanishads were later developed by the famous thinker Shankaracharya. Now, 6 schools of Indian philosophy. So there are 6 schools of Indian philosophy. That is very important, that there are 6 Indian philosophy schools. Now, these are known as Veshika, Nyaya, Samakhya, Yoga, Purva, Mimamsa, Vedanta or Uttar Mimamsa. These are said to have founded by sages Konada, Gautama, Kapila, Patanjali, Jamini, and Vyasa, respectively. Now, German-born British Indologist Friedrich Max Müller has observed that the six systems of philosophy were developed over many generations with contributions made by individual thinkers. Now, Panini the grammarian. Now, Panini, who had prepared a grammar for Sanskrit. So, Panini is a person who prepared a grammar for Sanskrit. He arranged the vowels and consonants in a special order, then used these to create formulae like those found in algebra. He used these to write down the rules of the language in short formula, around 3000 of them. Now, Jainism. First we studied about Buddhism, now we study about Jainism. The last and 24th Tirthankara of the Jains, Vardhama Mahavira, also spread his message around this time, that is 2500 years ago. He was Kshatriya prince. He was also a Kshatriya prince at Lichavis, a group that was a part of Vaji Sangha. Now, at the age of 30, he left home and went to live in forest. For 12 years, he led to be a hard and lonely life, at the end of which he attained enlightenment. He taught a simple doctrine. Men and women who wished to know the truth must leave their homes. They must follow very strictly the rules of ahimsa, which means not hurting or killing living beings. All beings, said Mahavira, long to live. To all things life is dear. Ordinary people could understand the teachings of Mahavira and his followers because he also used Prakrit language. These were several forms of Prakrit. Followers of Mahavira, who were known as Jains, had led a very simple lives begging for food. They had to be absolutely honest and were especially asked not to steal. Also, they had to observe celibacy, and men had to give up everything including their clothes. Thousands left their home to learn and teach this new way of life. Many more remained behind and supported those who became monks and nuns, providing them with food. Jainism was supported mainly by traders, farmers who had killed to kill insects to protect their crops found it more difficult to follow their rules. Now, Jainism spread to different parts of North India and to Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. Now, farmers had very difficulty in following Jainism because they have to kill insects, and the Mahavira followers are specially used that they should not be following ahimsa. Now, Jainism spread to different parts of North India and Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. They were written down in the form of which they are presently available at a place called Vallabhi in Gujarat about 1500 years ago. Now, the Sangha. Both the Mahavira and the Buddha felt that only those who left their homes could gain the true knowledge. They arranged for them to stay together in the Sangha, an association of those who left their homes. The rules made by Buddhist Sangha were written down in a book called the Vinaya Pitaka. All men could join the Sangha, however, children had to take the permission of their parents and slaves that their masters. Those who worked for the king had to take his permissions and debtors that of creditors. Women had to take her husband's permission. They meditated for most of the time and went to the cities and villages to beg for food during fixed hours. That is why they were known as bhikkhus. The Prakrit word renounced as beggar or bhikkhunis. Now, Jain. The word Jaina comes from the term Jina, means conqueror. Now, monasteries. To begin with, both Jaina and Buddhist monks went to place and place throughout the year. During the rainy season, their supporters built temporary shelters for them in gardens, or they lived in the natural caves in hilly areas. At that time, natural caves were available in hilly areas, but now they are roads, so they are not available. As time went on, many supporters of the monks and nuns and they themselves felt that they need for more permanent shelters, so monasteries were built. These were known as the viharas. Now, Buddhist texts tell us just as the water of the rivers lose their names and patterns when they flow into the mighty ocean, so are varna and ranks and family forgotten when the followers of Buddha join the orders of monks. Where often the land on which the vihara was built was donated by a rich merchant or a landowner or the king. The local people came with gifts of food, clothing, medicines for the monk and nuns. In return, they taught the people over the centuries. Buddhism spread to many parts of the subcontinent and beyond. You will learn more about the chapter in chapter 10, which we have studied now. The system of ashrams. Around the time when Jainism and Buddhism were becoming popular, Brahmins developed the system of ashrams. It is used instead of stage of life. 4 ashrams were recognized: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Samanyasa. Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaishya men were expected to lead simple lives and study the Vedas during the early years of their lives. Brahmacharya. Then they had to marry and live as householders or grihastha. They had to live in forest and meditate as vanaprastha. Finally, they had to give up everything and become samanyasams. Generally, women were not allowed to study the Vedas and they had to follow the ashrams chosen by their husbands. But now we are not like this, okay? So elsewhere, find Iran in your atlas. Zoroaster was an Iranian prophet. So we have to find Iran in our atlas. So Zoroaster was an Iranian prophet. Now his teachings were contained in a book called the Avesta. They are telling about one more region, that is Zoroaster, that was an Iranian prophet, and his teachings contain the book called Avesta. The language of Avesta and the practices described in it very similar to those of the Vedas. Means it was same as the Vedas. For more than 1,000 years, Zoroastrianism was the major religion in Iran. Later, some Zoroastrians migrated from Iran and settled down in coastal towns of Gujarat and Maharashtra. They were ancestors of today's Gujarat and Maharashtra. Thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel.